Coach T here with Garage Talk. It's been a minute, it's been a while, but hey, it's 2021. I'm trying to get these things out and rolling. We are not in the garage. Obviously, the last several Garage Talks have not been in the garage. They've been virtual, but Garage Talk represents a space, garage, a space to just freely talk about life, about every aspect of life, and just dialogue, man, and just keep it real. So today I have Pete Meyers. Okay, now what's crazy about that name is there was a guy as a kid. I followed the Chicago Bulls, and Pete Meyers was one of the people who played for the Chicago Bulls. Yeah. So you played with Michael Jordan apparently, and you have a championship with him.
I didn't know.
Pete Meyers from Chicago Bulls. No, just kidding. But no, this is Pete Meyers from TSAS. As many of you know, I do a number of things. One of the things I do is I teach at TSAS. I'm a teacher here at TSAS, Tulsa School of Arts and Science, and he is one of the teachers here as well. And we're gonna get into what he teaches and just kind of get into Pete's story and everything. This is Pete Meyers, man. All right. So we're gonna start with your life journey, man. So we already know who you are. You're Pete. What are your kids called? What do you go by your kids?
My students call me Mr. Pete.
Mr. Pete.
Yeah.
So Mr. Pete. So okay.
Yeah.
Not Mr. Myers. No one calls you Mr. Myers?
No.
So yeah, this school is interesting, man, because it's very like when you say this school is like very unconventional.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah. So they call me Coach T. They call him Mr. Pete, but very few teachers are getting called like by their like Mr. or Mrs. such and such last name.
I think some do.
Some do, but
it just depends on what you're.
So it's kind of open to what you want to do. So me and Pete also, I want to kind of give some perspective. We have set in on I want to say 2 book clubs. Mm-hmm. So during this time, as most of you know, it's been a year of distance learning. Us teachers here at the building, literally, with no students.
Yeah.
There's no students, right? And so we came with this thing with book clubs. Shout out to Dan. And we discussed a book that we're all reading together. And so we got into spiritual discussions, educational discussions. We've had cultural discussions. Obviously, what's happened in the last year for some people. I mean, it's been going on longer than this. But we've had racial discussions. We've had we family discussions, life talk. We've talked about a number of things, man. All in book club. I mean, this stuff comes out.
True.
So, but anyways, I like Pete. He has a great mind. He reads like 100 books a week or something like that. So we're gonna try to get all that knowledge that's in there and what's going on. So cool. Your life journey. So where are you from originally?
I was born in Texas, and for like all of my childhood, I just grew up bouncing around Texas. My dad is in oil, and so I moved like 6 times before I graduated from high school. So,
wow. Yeah. So are you a Texas fan? Like Longhorn and stuff like that?
My parents both went to UT.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they did.
Oh,
they both went
snap.
to UT, so they're big Longhorn fans. This might be
horns down, man. Okay,
that's fair.
Over here.
I don't have a lot of school spirit for really anything. I don't have a lot of that kind of
like for athletics. And things like that.
Just not a big guy on that stuff. So
yeah.
I once time in college I described Texas and my relationship to Texas as that weird uncle that's like, yeah, he's my family and I love him, but
I don't get down with everything.
Right, I'm not going to his house every weekend. We're not.
So did you go?
Hanging out.
Okay, they went to Texas.
Yeah.
University of Texas, that is. Mm-hmm. Where'd you go to college?
I went to school in Arkansas at John Brown University.
John Brown.
Yeah, which is not Brown University. Just be real clear. Some people are like, "Oh, you went to Brown?" Like, no. It's
John
a very
Brown.
Small Christian liberal arts school. It has like 1,300 kids total in undergrad. It's about an hour and 45 minutes, an hour east of east of Tulsa, right on the border of Arkansas and Oklahoma.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Did you graduate? Did you spend your childhood there in elementary, middle school, high school?
I did.
And so you graduated there. So what brought you to Tulsa?
So I went to school in Arkansas, and when I graduated from college, my parents were living in Houston, and I had two goals, and they were to not move back in with mom and dad, and to not stay in the little bitty town that John Brown was in. And I had a good friend who was from Tulsa, and he was moving back here, and we're close, and we just decided to move here together, and we got an apartment and hung out, and then I married a Tulsan, and so now I've got roots. So
yeah. So you met your wife here.
We actually we met in college. One summer we both worked at a camp together, and we met then. We didn't start dating then. We were actually both dating other people that summer, and then we tried to date the school year after that and didn't work out super well. And when I moved back here after college, we got to be better friends. And after a couple of years, we decided to start dating, and so
that kind of sounds like me and my wife's story.
Oh, really?
A little
Cool.
bit. Meeting. That's interesting.
It's funny, we've talked about, like you said, you listed off the things we've talked about: culture and race and religion and education and all this stuff. But it's funny, like, we don't know these things about each other. Yeah. So
right. We didn't get into the
like the details,
the love story.
The love
story. We didn't do the love story. Yeah.
Sure.
So I got the list of things, and normally I would have my phone, but my phone is actually recording. So just want to make sure I hit these topics. But your life story, your journey. So you went into education. So did you go right to education, or 'cause I know a lot of people like go into college as one thing, and then like they go through these other major switches up. So was that originally your thing or no?
So I actually have wanted to be a teacher since I was in like kindergarten, first grade. That was my goal.
My wife's the same way. Wow, that's crazy.
Very funny, yeah.
Wow.
And it's really, I really like writing a lot. And for a while I thought about being like trying to go for a professional writer, like published author kind of thing.
Kind of like philosophical.
No, like novels. I like writing fiction. So I went to college, and my degree is in English because I actually didn't do my homework in high school and thought that if I graduated with a degree in English that I would be able to teach English just as a public school teacher, and I didn't look into it until about halfway through college.
Okay, so
anyway, it's a long thing.
You didn't believe in homework.
Well, I mean, I didn't do my research. I got you. Okay. Didn't do my.
You didn't do your homework on that. Gotcha. I'm gonna say that is a crazy story. Then now you're a teacher.
So when I graduated college, I actually spent about 2 years in Tulsa. I was working as a night security guard at the Philbrook Art Museum.
Philbrook. Right.
And I was writing a lot then and reading a lot then. And then when I got engaged, my wife was like, you gotta have a day job. I was a night guard. I worked from midnight to 8 a.m. And she was like, you gotta have a day job. So I got a job as a tutor in a program, and then I taught for that program, and then now I'm here. So
you hear the phrase, "Don't quit your day job." Well, she's like, "Go get a day.
Go get a day job." That's what she's saying.
Go start your day job.
Yeah. So it was a good move. I'm glad I did it. But
yeah, man, graveyard shift is no joke, man. That's
it was really cool in a lot of ways and really weird in a lot of ways.
Right.
Yeah.
So always wanted to be a teacher.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why?
I
mean, talking about kindergarten.
Yeah.
Okay, like so you're kindergarten.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say you're an elementary student, elementary, student. Why? What in your mind is appealing to wanting to teach? Was there a certain teacher that, like, man, this teacher, he or she makes me want to do? You connected with that, or like, I want to do that.
Yeah, I think a lot of my really early teachers, kindergarten and first and second grade, I had really good positive experiences with. I think I love, one of my things is I just really like to help people. I'm an Enneagram number 2, which is like the helper.
The helper.
I really like helping people, and I think that my teachers were people that were helpful for me. They look out for me. They took care of me, and I think it just was something that sounded fun and cool. And then as I grew up and sort of learned a little bit more how the world worked, I see education as the most the most direct way to fix a lot of the problems that I see. The more educated our people are across the board, the better off our society.
The more educated our people are, the better society is.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty solid statement. I stand by it.
Okay.
And I think that
so education is the solution from your perspective.
I think that it is at the very least. I think at the very least it is the foundation upon which all other solutions must be built. If we don't have an educated population, if they don't know how to communicate with one another, if they don't know how to learn and read and create ideas of their own and execute those ideas, then we won't build and grow as a
it must be the long hair that because we got the knowledge in here. You know what I mean? No, it kind of comes out. See, no. So education solution is very interesting. It's the foundation in which all solutions come from.
I think I stand by that statement. I'm a verbal processor, so sometimes
I am too. So towards the middle of this, that could evolve. Right?
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes I'll say something and people are like, dude, and I'll be like, wow. But I think that one sounds good to me.
So you mentioned relationships, learning how to talk with each other, learning how to. So you think education, based on that statement, it includes how to coexist with each other as people.
I definitely think that it should. That should be a huge part of our.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think so too. But I think as a kid, if anybody's like me, thinking like me, and about education, you're thinking about like getting good grades and making sure you pass these tests, doing all this work. You got homework. You're not thinking about that this is making me a better person or. I think education also is something that teaches, to teach kids how to live life, right? Like how to maneuver in life.
Yeah,
like how
definitely.
to, you know what I mean? That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know if you said this yet, but I teach English, and part of the reason for that is that I think that we have ideas, and those ideas are powerful and moving, but they are worthless if they are not acted upon, if they are not communicated with others, right? If I can't read a book and understand the ideas that are there, if I can't write or talk and have other people understand the ideas that I've got, then those ideas don't really amount to much, right?
What if you have a student?
Sure.
Okay, so you're ELA, which is English. That's usually the term, the teacher terms, right? What grade do you teach?
8th grade.
Okay. You have an 8th grader or a group of 8th graders that interpret or they comprehend better via auditory. More so than maybe words written on paper or typed on paper.
Yeah.
How would you deal with that? And does that bother you?
So
does it irritate the way that you learn? 'Cause I know I would assume that you learn from, the hardback book, the classic hardback book.
You just think I'm a nerd, Coach. That's
no. First of all, I'm not using that word, okay? But nerd is not a demeaning thing. I'm not offended. Yeah, we got to make sure we clear up that in today's world, okay?
I'm not offended.
So no. What I'm saying is like, okay, you're for me as a kid, I'm not going to get a piece of paper and read the words of the paper.
Right.
I'm like this generation is perfect for me. I'm like, vid, podcast, let me watch it or show me maybe hands-on, and I can get it that way. This has to almost become, the words on the paper have to become almost alive to me than for me to do that in my, for me. Yeah. So how, I would assume that you're the opposite. Well, I could be wrong. Okay. So aren't you? How do you learn?
So we did a lot with learning styles this year. We got the 4 major learning styles that are auditory, like you're talking about, visual, and then kinesthetic, the motion, and then the reading writing is the 4th one. And actually, my lowest score is reading writing.
Oh, so you're not? I was wrong, bro. I was wrong. Oh.
I'm a learner at heart. Like I really love to learn, and my auditory, visual, and kinesthetic scores are all tied. And then my reading writing score is just below that.
It's crazy because I would never.
Yeah.
You can't judge a book by its cover, literally. But I would never. If I'm talking with you and.
I do love to read.
So yes, I know. Yeah, you love to read. My wife loves to read. So I would never guess that because when we do our book club, when we have our discussions and when someone's talking or when I'm talking or someone else is talking, Pete is taking notes, right? He's writing it down. So I mean, he's writing it down to the paper, right? So I'm thinking like, oh, that's where I.
Yeah.
But like, man, this dude's like, but maybe you just.
So for me, that's actually more of the visual and kinesthetic connection.
True, because you're
creating
writing.
I'm creating those things visually. I usually am doodling and drawing stupid little pictures.
Yes, me too.
And that kind of thing. But it's that tactile motion that
of
goes
doing
with
something
listening.
to be able to stay tapped in to listen versus just sitting there like.
Yeah.
No, I gotta.
Yeah.
Active listener, they call it.
Yes. Yeah, active listening.
Yeah, I'm the same way. That's what's up.
So you started that kind of line of thinking, asking me how I would handle students who are auditory.
Well, I already know how you would handle it because you're auditory.
So, yeah.
You answered the question, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well then I guess I need to ask you, how would you handle a student who was traditional learning?
Yeah, so in my class...
I'll say traditional, but
sure,
you know.
Reading, writing, paper. In my class, I really try to have access for all 4 of those learning styles. We do, for example, when I did, we read some books on distance learning this year, and I made little videos where I put the PDF on the screen, and the video is of me reading the PDF to the camera, and so it's just.
So you got all of these different ways to learn.
Yeah.
It covered it. So it's the kid who's learning, they're writing and reading on paper, then they can get that too. But the person who's learning from visual, they're learning from you seeing you read on it.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah. So I try to offer all of those things because we all are capable of learning. It just sometimes we're better at it in other ways. And I think that's really cool.
Okay, so you always want to be a teacher. Did you always want to be married?
Yeah.
As a kid.
Yeah.
Me too.
Cool.
Yeah. This was up. Now, your wife is from Tulsa.
She is. Yes.
Where'd she go to high school?
She went to high school at Jinx. She graduated from
Jinx.
Yeah.
So, okay, yes, that's what you were talking about earlier about her parents teaching Jinx. Interesting. Okay, so, what thing is it that I don't know about you? There's a lot I don't know about you, but that I don't know about you, life journey-wise, that you want to throw out there?
Just a weird little fact about me. The longest I've ever lived at a single address is like 4 years, just because we moved around so much. And I think the actual, so it's kind of weird.
I moved around so much. Remind me again what your parents were doing in terms of why you moved around so much.
Yeah, my dad is in the oil business, and so part of that is just, there's a well over here, or this company hired you, or this office closed down, and we moved you across the state, and so we moved around a lot.
Parents are married.
I've been really.
Have you ever been to a Texas Longhorn game? Tell me your dad forced you to go as a kid to go sit in those stands and be
I know I went to in college. I went to a Cowboys game on Thanksgiving Day. That was a college experience.
Come on.
And I know my brother was an Aggie. He went to A&M.
When you say Cowboy, you're referring to Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, the Dallas.
I don't like Dallas Cowboys. I'm a Niners fan, so.
Okay, sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry too that you went to the Cowboys.
Like I said, I'm not going to fight with you about sports.
Right. So
yeah, but
Texas State Fair.
Never been.
Whoa!
I know.
Is the hype really what it is, bro?
We used to go to like the county fair, which was really cool. They did a lot of the same things, kind of like the state fair we got at the fairgrounds. Right. It was about that size and that shape and stuff. But we used to go to that one as a kid a lot. But
did you ever lived in West Texas?
I did. I lived in Midland for about 18 months. You know where Midland is?
Well, I only know about Midland.
Okay.
sports fans out there know this.
True.
I only know about Midland because of the movie Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. That was in Odessa.
That's Odessa, but
they're basically the same thing.
Odessa, but they played against
Yeah.
Midland. That's all I think I know in Midland. What about Bovina, Texas?
Bovina? I do not know Bovina.
South or West Texas?
Okay.
Kind of near Lubbock a little bit.
Okay.
I only know that because I went there one time with a friend.
Okay.
A trip there one time. It was really cool. So you lived in different types of cultures. So when I say cultures, I mean like you have suburb, you have some where I grew up, West Tulsa. Some people would call that the boonies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or then you have the West Texas is kind of filled with like people who are into the crop business, right? Yeah. So the layout is different, right? Exactly.
Yeah. I would say that all the like houses that we lived in were really suburban, city blocks on, with sidewalks and that like.
What would you say you live now? What would you say you live now? Is it suburban or is it urban?
Probably suburban.
Okay. Just ask. So okay, we're going. Okay, so the current work you're in, or your 8th grade teacher. How long have you been teaching?
This is my 3rd year at TSAS teaching 8th grade English. Before that, I taught at a different school in a different position. Kind of, it was a weird situation, but I taught there for 3 years. So.
Is teaching everything that you dreamed it would be?
Whoa, that's a good question. In a lot of ways, yeah.
Like this was a dream as a kid.
Yeah.
Like, this is Pete Elementary.
Sure.
I want to do that. I can't wait till I can do that. Now you're doing it. Is it that gratifying? Is it that exciting as it was when you saw this as a kid? If you can connect those two.
I think that the only piece of that missing is my ability to do the job as well as I would like to do it. I think I just constantly wish that I was better at this. That but I think that the role and the idea of what I do and motivating and teaching and all that kind of stuff and all that is just what I hope for, especially at TSAS.
But that's what an educator is, though.
Yeah.
From my perspective.
Sure.
Are you a perfectionist?
I don't think of myself that way, but maybe I've been wrestling with that lately. Maybe I'm a perfectionist.
I need to ask your wife that. I need to ask her.
Well, she is a 10 out of 10 perfectionist. She is all the way. So compared to her,
She'll probably say no. You're like, no, exactly.
Yeah.
Unorganized.
Yeah. So.
All right. So, okay. So let's go into this one. We talked about this a lot. We talked a lot about culture. We talked a lot about faith, right? Faith versus culture. What do you? Let's just talk about what's the first thing that you think about when you hear the word culture?
Okay. When I hear the word culture, the first thing I think about, I think of like arts. I don't remember when it was. We learned about like the definition of a civilization, and I've heard different definitions of this over the years. But I think of like a civilization beginning when you have like entertainment being produced, right?
A civilization beginning. Okay.
So like I'm not just about my survival anymore. I'm about entertaining myself. I've got spare time with which to tell stories, with which to create art, with which to pursue craftsmanship, whatever. It's more than just getting by. I heard somebody define culture, and I thought this was a great definition, as the first time that anyone ever tried to heal a broken leg bone. Because, anyway, it's really cool. Like, otherwise, if it was a hunter-gatherer society, we would have left that person to, hey man, you're basically dead. You broke your leg, I'm sorry. But when somebody was like, we can fix you and carry you with us, that's like culture is coming there. So, does that make sense?
Culture is coming there.
Yeah.
All right, so culture is helping recover the broken leg, aid to the broken leg. So then it's not culture to just leave it like it is.
Yeah, I think that there's something about a communal relationship about I'm not just I'm not just pursuing life as opposed to death. I'm not just about to die and I'm doing everything I can to avoid that. I'm not running from the storm and the tiger and looking for food. I'm mending people. I'm creating art. I'm entertaining myself or others. I am pursuing a relationship.
It's crazy because, growing up as a kid and even growing now, even as an adult now, as a grown man, when I heard the word culture, it's interesting what pictures come to mind or what images come to mind. Like,
well, yeah. What about you? What comes to mind?
So culture. When I think about culture, and I think about honestly, man, I just think about hip hop.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
Like culture. I just think about. It makes me think about my community as a black man, as a black person, or my ethnicity or whatever. So I literally, to me, up until now, that I understand the definition of culture and how, you can have a book culture, you can have church culture, you can have hip hop or sports culture or whatever, right? You can have, there's different types of cultures. Right. When I heard, but before getting to that space, when I heard the word culture, I automatically identified my community as the definition of culture. So if I heard the word culture, if I was to define it, if someone was to say, is that culture like South Tulsa? I'd be like, no, that ain't culture, bro. Culture's over here.
Right.
So, because it's something that identifies with what I guess that's familiar with myself. It's very interesting.
If you think about the definition that I just offered, it is so detached from any personal experience, because I think this is part of the problem with our world, is that whiteness has no culture. Whiteness
has no culture. It's the default.
Right? I mean, and I don't think that's a good thing. I'm not supporting that idea.
No, right.
But I am never encouraged to think about what my culture is. My culture is the world, right? As a white man. Whereas when you think of culture, you're forced to think about what separates me from the other, what otherizes me as a person. That's my culture, right? And so my definition is this vague, sort of ethereal thing out there that I offered you just naturally, and then your definition is hip hop, is these things that make me who I am, these things that make me black, right? Does that make sense?
No.
Yeah, I think that's pretty telling.
Is poverty a culture?
Ooh. Wow. I think poverty, I think class creates culture. I don't know how I would define that, but I think wealth and middle class and poverty
Those
class,
are different cultures?
I think that they are a part of the giant weird spaghetti ball that makes up culture, right?
So we live in a spaghetti culture.
Yeah, okay, so what I mean is there are many, many threads that are all tangled up together that create my specific culture. There's a word...
But holistically, that's the whole culture.
Right, and American culture contains those threads of everybody, and we chop off some of them, and some we bury real deep, and some of them we highlight.
You said something. You said white, I forgot what you said, whites don't have culture.
Yeah, there is no white culture.
There's no white culture. There's no culture. There's no white culture.
What is it, Chili's? Abercrombie and Fitch? What do we get?
American Eagle, bro.
Right? Yeah.
What is
white culture is capitalism. That's it. Just there. That's all it is.
Capitalizing
on the subjugation of other people.
On the subjugation of other people. Interesting.
Yeah.
Woo. Okay. See, this is kind of this is only a glimpse of what we really get into, in our book clubs. But that's what's up. Okay. So now we're going to move to the other side. Faith. Sure. Is faith culture?
I think it's another one of the threads that makes up your culture.
Okay.
Right?
So when you hear the word faith, what are some images or some things or some what do you think about when you hear the word faith?
For me, because of my upbringing in Christian culture, Christian faith,
Christian culture,
Christian
on.
faith, then a lot of the images that come to mind are images of a cross and a crucifix and a communion cup and a church building,
Jesus,
and steeples. Yeah,
Jesus, white. Which one are you talking
unfortunately, that is the. I've since learned better. Yeah,
right,
since
right.
learned better. But you think of.
What color? Do you have blonde hair and everything? What do you have?
I think most of the Jesuses hanging in my
kind of
church
brown,
at least had brown hair.
At least had brown.
Yeah,
Right.
But yeah, pretty rough there. Yeah. Yeah.
So what is your okay? So faith. I want to go there. So faith. So faith versus culture.
Mm.
Is that a thing? Is that an accurate statement? Question? Perspective? Thought? Or do you believe, like you were saying, they're wrapped up in one? Or is there an actual thing in today's world? There's faith versus culture.
Mm.
People who think of culture, people who think about culture and what they are, like me, like myself.
Sure.
Like I'm probably not the only person that probably has felt that way when I hear the word culture, to identify everything that makes me who I am, right? But then when I think about faith, I think about the same things you think about. But where I go spend some of my time to grow in my faith, and what makes me alive in my faith might not be the same thing that makes me alive in terms of my culture, maybe who I am as a culture. So is there this thing where there's a faith versus culture in the definition that I brought previously to before evolving to
the definition of hip hop and what makes you black?
All these things. So like, is there in simple terms, is there I know you're not a sports person, but we're gonna get a little sports.
Sure, that's fine.
Is there this game going on, right? Figuratively speaking, where one team is faith, one team is culture, and there are opponents against each other?
So I think that's, in my view of the world, that's a false dichotomy, right?
Okay.
I think that God loves your culture. I think that God wants you to pursue your culture and for you to be you. And I think that if we talk about the secular culture versus the Christian culture, the church culture versus the world culture, then there are things that come along with that conversation.
Well, some people might, and I might think this at times too, like faith, identifying faith with it as faith in church as that saying, and then you have a T-chart, right? Faith in church is on the same side.
Yeah.
And some people will put culture and maybe secular, if you want to say that, in the same thing. They might put culture, secular. It's interesting because now this is we like talking spiritual, but it's very interesting what Christians or as believers we have been taught as what secular is.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like maybe back in the 50s or 40s, right?
Yeah.
You shouldn't be going to no movies.
Right. Yeah. My parents have a friend who they weren't even allowed to eat pizza because at the kind of places that they sold pizza, people also drank beer and smoked cigarettes, and so they weren't allowed to have pizza, so they would never be tempted to go into those type of. Does that make sense? Like, what? It's like pretty far gone.
Apparently, I need to be safe. I love pizza.
I know, me too. I
listen.
know. I got pizza last night.
Look, so
anyway.
But no, that's interesting because they call secular is from the Christian world is defined as anytime that you're in relation or interacting with the I can go eat pizza with the world.
Sure, yeah.
So we live in the world.
Right. We need to be in the world, but not of it.
Right,
That's the verse, right? We need to be in the world. So that T-chart you're describing with church and faith on one side and culture and secularism on the other side, can you give headings to those for me? Like what is each column defined as? How are we dividing that line? Or are those the headings? Church versus secular?
Faith culture is the top.
Okay.
And then under that. But this is what I'm saying.
Sure.
I'm not saying that I'm putting it, but this is the way a lot of the world would put under culture things that we go out and do. We might go to the movie. We might go to eat pizza at this place. Sure. We might go. But it might not be accepted on the faith side to go eat pizza, just like you just said, right?
So again, so we're looking at scripture a little bit here, and we're looking at, maybe this is some verbal processing, so I might back myself into a corner here. But I think that everything is permissible for the believer, but not everything is beneficial. That's a verse from the New Testament. I'm really bad with references.
Yeah.
But we are allowed. I am not restricted by law, right? I am not beholden to any law, but not everything is going to be good for me as a person. I am allowed to do whatever I want to, but not everything is going to help me in my relationship with my God. Not everything is going to help me in my relationship with my brother. Not everything is going to bear fruit in my life, right? That's a big Christian thing, is bearing fruit, right? So yeah.
So it's it's interesting. I mean, there's a lot we can dive deep on that, bro. I know.
Yeah. How long are we on this?
I know. Right. We just go. So okay, secular. So some people might. In this last year, there's been a lot of things, man, happen, right? And some people might say that it's some Christians, right, might, in their perspectives, or the Christian world's perspective, it feels as if to be on behalf or to advocate for black and brown lives, and to stress that is considered, it's just by some, it feels like it's secular to think that.
So
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, and I fully 100% reject that idea immediately before we even go any further. I'm not verbally processing it all here. This is core belief for me that God values the justice and the humanity of every soul on this earth, no matter the color. And when our brothers and sisters of across the rainbow of humanity are being broken and beaten and destroyed because of the color of their skin, which is an unarguable, provable fact, that needs to stop. God is so compassionately, so directly, so overtly for justice over and over and over and over again throughout the Old and the New Testament. It is, just full. The Bible is full of cries for justice and the cessation of the subjugation of different people groups. That if you consider yourself a Christian and you are opposed to racial healing in this country, then you have work to do and you need to come to know Jesus better, because that is diabolically wrong to me.
So no, and I agree, and that's why initially I talked about, when I asked you about faith, the original statement, faith versus culture. It seems like, or it looks as though like there's a versus thing going on here. But that's injustices, racial injustices, seem to be on one side. And the church, in the church or faith, seem to be on the other, and they seem to be in a versus, like no. It seems as though the leg is being left broke. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Then someone coming to aid for that. You know what I mean?
I do.
That's my personal little soapbox thing.
Sure, yeah.
But it just feels like that. Right? It feels like, the reason I said faith and culture, because you're right. Originally, faith, culture, that's a together thing. But I wonder if faith, side of T chart, church, I hate to say the word religion, but church spirituality, if it's lost, or never had, or lacking, or has always lacked, its relevancy and connection to culture.
Oh, I think it has, and that is the huge failing of the church. If we read the New Testament, the church is involved in culture. The church is reading and interacting with culture as a way to bear witness to the goodness of God in our world. The church is engaged with culture, in conversation with it. That's over and over and over again. We see that in the New Testament, and I think that we do this stupid thing in the church where we try and manufacture. This is the only example that I can think of. Do you know Bible Man? Was
Bible
this
Man.
part?
I have
Bible
heard
Man.
about. I have
Okay.
heard about Bible.
Okay.
Yeah.
So somebody decided that everything in Marvel and DC comic books and all this stuff was sinful. So they made up Bible Man, which was going to be this superhero.
So DC, all Marvel and stuff that was second.
Yeah,
Second.
I mean,
They're
they
second.
started.
We had to come up with something.
That was a Christian comic
but
book.
actually, it's doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's a comic book. It's doing the same thing, but there's none of that sex and drugs, and there's none of that worldly
Aspect to it.
So they stole this idea and they made this counterfeit version of it that is bad. It is just really, really bad.
Not only just bad. You mean bad like in terms of like
the quality of the comic book, the comic,
yes,
like it is just and we see this. I think again of the band. A lot of this is my own interactions in the '90s because I've since gotten away from those. But Plus One was the stupid boy band when Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were hot. You know, Plus One was the really cool Christian boy band. I'm not.
No.
Oh,
I'm saying, come on, man, to the like, that's ridiculous.
So Christian culture has said, hey, we need to be completely separate. We need to manufacture and create our own versions of all.
But you're not separate if you're copying the same. If
Right.
you're copying what they're doing.
Yeah, and because all of these things are soiled and tainted by the world's view, we're going to create our own clean version.
We need. I'm gonna tell you right now, we need Christian pizza.
Hey, why?
Come on, man. We need some.
Why? I said, hey, like I agreed. I don't agree.
I know, right?
Okay.
Exactly. We need Christian pizza.
Yeah.
We need, black pizza.
And we can put cheese
saying?
in the crust and call it Jesus crust because he's in the tomb. It'll be so good.
Why do we do this?
I don't know, man. It's dumb, and that it prevents us from enjoying good art. It prevents us from enjoying
culture,
good cultural things that are. Okay, one of the most spiritually moving experiences in my entire life. I read the book in 1984. Have you read the book 1984? Okay. So,
by the way, Pete's probably read every book known to me.
Not true. Not even kind of true. So 1984, the plot is that Big Brother is watching you all the time. It's a totally government-controlled society in which the government has eyes and ears on everybody, right? And they're not allowed to fall in love. So this guy, the plot of the book follows this guy who works for the government and this woman who works for the government, and they fall in love with each other in an office. And they start sneaking around and having a love affair, right? So they're sneaking off and taking trains to each other's houses and going to the countryside and breaking all the rules because Big Brother is watching and they've got to escape to a field where Big Brother can't see them to be in love with each other. But Big Brother finds out, of course. Big Brother being the government. So the end of the book comes where they are found out to be in love. They've been having this explicit affair. And they are both tortured to prove that love doesn't exist. So the man, the whole book, you're learning about his fear of rats. And they put a cage on his face with a rat in it. And the rat begins to gnaw on his face. And he knows in this moment, all he has to do is say, don't do this to me, but do it instead to the woman that I love, right? Do it to her instead. And they'll stop. And that's all they want him to say. They want him to admit that he loves himself more than he loved her. They want him to admit
that he wasn't gonna give up himself.
Right. He's not willing to endure this pain, even for a moment, for this woman. So before even the rat, it's been a while since I read it, but I think before even the rat takes a bite on his face, he says, "Do it to Julia." That's the woman's name. Do it to Julia. Take this away. And George Orwell is the writer of this, and he's trying to say that love doesn't exist. It's meaningless. But in this moment, I'm reading this book. The Holy Spirit said to me, very personally, that's what Jesus did for you. He sat in the chair and he let the rat gnaw on his face until death, rather than say, do this to Peter, because he loves you that much. And I started just bawling in that moment. And that was a secular book. The idea of this book is to tell me that love isn't real. That's the purpose, the ethereal purpose in the book. But the message that I received was
faith culture.
With this lasting message that has impacted and changed my view and my relationship with God deeply, right? So by looking and delving into the shadow, we see the sunshine.
Because if we're not willing to engage,
right?
If the church is not willing to engage with culture or like that, it's also like hindering itself of certain growths and perspectives. And, what do you call them? Light bulb moments.
Sure, epiphanies.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We miss out on so much when I'm unwilling to hear your perspective. I lose out.
Because I'm not broadening mine.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just kind of like, wow, that's deep.
But yeah, I've since then I've had a lot of moments like that where I'm engaging with secular culture and I'm learning about my relationship with God. I'm learning about my relationship with Him because I'm reading it through my worldview lens of Christianity.
And that's an interesting topic to go on, like
Sure.
how thin a line, crossing to do that. Or not to do that, but as we do that,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm not sure.
Like you're saying, you listen to maybe some secular or read some secular things through the lens of your faith and getting certain things. Because I'm the same way. I call it. My wife. I said to my husband, it's like eating hay and spitting out the sticks. It's eating the watermelon and spitting out the seeds, right? But where's the fine line at where there's some stuff you don't need to even take a bite of. And that's another topic. But there's stuff about that we talked about that as you were talking.
Sure. Yeah.
There's some stuff we probably shouldn't, But then what's the it's interesting.
Personally, I'll just say real briefly that I think that depends person to person, right? Your struggles are different than my struggles. My struggles are different than my brother's struggles, right? So he might be able to engage with something that I can't in good faith because everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. And you're different than me, right?
And I can eat pizza. You probably need to chill back. You tempted to, you need to chill back on some pizza. Right? What's your favorite pizza, bro?
Man, there is toppings on the pie.
We order something right now, brother.
So there's this new spot down in the Arts District called Empire Pizza. We ordered from them last night, but they have this one pizza called the Fungus Among Us. That's got all kind of mushrooms.
Fungus, brother?
Fungus Among Us. It's got all kind of mushrooms on it. It's so good.
Oh, you like all that? Yeah, okay. I'm a good old classic
like meat lovers.
I like meat lovers, but also like classic pepperoni.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that,
and
brother.
I'll eat
frozen pizza, brother.
Little Caesars frozen pizza. I'll eat, man. I'll eat bagel bites.
That's too secular, brother. You gotta these. Don't go too secular on the pizza, man. Come
Jesus doesn't bless bagel bites.
Oh, man. Look, Red Baron, bro. Okay, yeah, that's crazy, man. Listen, Red Baron, as a kid.
Totino's, man.
Oh,
yes.
Man. And the other one, the Gino joints. Yeah, as a kid, we said it all the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, Little Caesar 3 meat, brother. Come on. I've had it a long time, man.
We love pizza around my house.
Shout out to QT, bro.
Hey.
Look.
Hey. I'm there, man. I am there. Yes.
Shout out to Quick Trip. All right, we get into this. So we talked about education.
Yeah.
What about education? I want to go back to education for this.
Okay.
Man, distance learning, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, thumbs up or thumb down or thumb side.
Ooh.
Down, up, or side. Obviously, down is obvious. Up is obvious, but in the middle is like it was cool. Like,
sure. Yeah. So I think for our particular situation for the pandemic, it has been a good decision. I'm glad that we've been doing it this long. So for some context, we've been distance learning this whole year, and we're going to go back to school on Monday.
Which is
hybrid model, optional hybrid model. I think it's been the right thing for our school, for our community to do.
About for the world. So most of the world has already went back, but for the most part, we all were in the same boat for a little bit. Bro.
Yeah, I've said all along, I am not making anybody else's decisions, and I am really glad that I am not doing that. That I'm not in charge of anything. Man. I'm not gonna judge anybody. It has made me very, very glad that I don't teach at a online school, and it has made me feel real sorry that there are students who that's their experience with school.
Like, because you become a college student. I mean, you have the hybrid pretty much. So some schools, not all schools, but a lot of schools you have the option to do online learning, right?
And I think that there's a vast maturity difference between 8th grade and a freshman in college.
I'm just saying, the online is not like. So you're saying like you couldn't be like a.
I don't think that. Online
instructor like that, because they didn't have videos and stuff, bro. They literally sitting into a thing, and we're going to the actual thing to pull from that to do the work. It ain't like for me, I was doing pre-recorded videos, right?
Yeah, I did a lot of that,
and then sending those. I mean, imagine. I mean, look how think how convenient that would be to the visual learner
Right.
who is in college,
Right.
right?
Yeah, be great. I don't think that I would want to teach middle school or high school or elementary school as a distance.
Elementary.
I know,
Oh
man.
my gosh! Shout out to the elementary
Yeah.
teachers out there. I don't know how
For
y'all did it.
Rough.
Elementary.
Rough.
I mean, thank God I'm doing like junior high, high school because they can kind of like
Right.
get on their phone.
A little bit,
yeah.
but it's
elementary.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. So.
Wow. Okay, so the future of education. Well, look, we're actually in the future of this post-ish pandemic. I mean,
Right.
people still getting back.
Oh, it's still a pandemic.
It's still a pandemic, brother. Just because vaccination does not end the pandemic, right?
No. Have you talked to Miss Eckhoff?
No, I did talk to her, but not about that. No, Miss Eckhoff, man. Yeah.
She keeps saying we're still in the middle of a deadly pandemic.
We're still in the middle of this thing, man. So
it's real and it will kill you. That's her tagline.
It's real and it will kill you.
Yeah. Anyway,
so
sorry.
it was real and it has killed, hasn't it? So okay. There are some people, as you know.
Oof. Let's not.
Yeah, no, we ain't going there. Okay, we're not going there. So, the future of education, we're actually entering the future of it, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I like to think we are. So, we're taking this step into hybrid. We're taking a step into, man, I think it's possible that our lives, not only educationally, spiritually, everywhere, but education is where education. It's almost like forever changed. So then, what do you project? Me and my wife have these conversations sometimes where we're like, if we've been like, seeking God about something together,
sure,
and we just kind of, how you can pray and ask God to help you. What are you showing me in this or whatever? But then you have your own thoughts, what you think too, right?
Sure.
And so we have this. Sometimes I'll say, what do you project that he's trying? What do you project that So, what do you project? Project.
For like next year?
No.
Okay.
Where education is headed, not just here, but as a whole. Where is education headed? How does this impact how we will teach? Does this evolve us? Does this give us more tools to kind of?
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. I know at least TSAS, our school locally, because of this, we were able to go 1-to-1, right? Every student has a laptop now, which is a huge move, right? That's a big thing. I think that what I hope to happen to education is that it becomes more about soft skills, about communication, about ideation and how to implement those things, execution and time management, right? Less about how to solve a quadratic equation, and less about how to...
Less about the test?
Less about the test, but more about how to be a person and how to have creative solutions to problems, how to begin to execute those, how to communicate them to others, and how to manage your time so that you can bring them to fruition, right?
Were you a good test taker?
Decent. I don't know. I wasn't like killing it. I didn't get a 1600 on my SATs or anything.
Did it give you any test? I'm talking about any test.
Sure.
Spelling test, quizzes, did it give you anxiety to take tests when you saw tests?
A little bit, but I would not say that I needed to. I wasn't like, I didn't need an IEP for it, right? I wasn't getting
but
test
I'm saying just for you personally.
Yeah, it was still like, this is a big deal, right? That kind of freaking out a little bit inside. Pressure.
Yes.
So, but I was the kid who finished, early and read a book for most of the time.
The future of education, from your perspective, the projection of the future of it is less focus on the tests written, more focus on the development of the person.
That's my hope. That's like if I could. That's my hope. I don't know.
It's an ideal world for you.
Sure. I don't know what I think is probably going to happen is it's going to say about the same for the next 25, 30 years because these systems are old and they change real slow, man.
And this is not even systems, man. This is one way that we've been Mount Rushmore, and the phrase or the topic is going to be as a kid, and under that we'll go over that. So Mount Rushmore as a kid topic. All right. So, subjects or classes as a kid from pre-K to 12.
Obviously English.
English
Teacher now.
Exactly.
I ran cross country in high school and I really enjoyed that. And
I hate cross country. I'm a short distance guy, not long distance.
And just those long meditative.
Oh God,
runs
meditative.
straight.
Now, like I know that. Yeah, maybe. What's the longest you ever?
The longest I ever ran, like in one go.
Like a mile, like miles.
13.
Never did that, brother. Maybe like
12, 13.
Maybe like 4, maybe. That's definitely short. So okay, so you got English, you got cross country.
I took an environmental science class my senior year of high school that I just really, it was just good. I had a good teacher. Environmental science. Yeah.
Science, sorry.
Talked about the way that, the way that
the environment.
Science.
Yeah, science of the environment, brother. I mean, hey.
Lots of biology and that kind of stuff all mixed in there.
All right, number 4.
And then number 4, shop classes. I took several wood shop and a couple metal shop classes. So
wood shop, I never knew there was a metal shop class, but wood shop, man. Hey, man, I had it in middle school, bro.
Yeah, I got to do the metal shop class. Was cool. I got to learn how to weld and use like a cutting torch. Those are great.
Man, that makes me think about elementary, man. Whatever happened to dissecting, brother?
You didn't do dissecting?
I did as a kid in elementary.
Yeah, you think that doesn't happen here?
Does it happen here?
I think so.
Oh, okay. Well, shout out to T-Sass.
I know it happened.
I didn't. Places I worked, they didn't.
Okay. When I worked at, maybe not in elementary school. It seems like giving little kids scalpels is a bad idea. But
brother, 3rd grade.
We're a little more safety conscious now than we were back when we were in school. You don't think so?
Oh no.
I think
it probably would be technology and everything or everything, yeah.
But I know that I worked at the Union 9th grade center for a year, and they did dissections. I helped kids.
Okay, Central. Shout out to Central, baby.
Right.
All right, this is gonna be tough, man.
Okay.
All right, and I think you'll like this question. I asked we were on the way to Texas one time, me and my wife, and her mom. And I was just throwing out top 5, right? So this one right here, I threw this out. So we're going Rushmore though, 4 spots, okay?
4 spots.
School teachers.
School teachers, for me, like of all time.
4.
That I took.
Rushmore, yes.
Mr. Keith Showen was my junior English teacher. Miss Jones, I don't remember her first name, was my 8th grade English teacher. Mr. Wood was my environmental science teacher, and I had him for biology. I didn't even think about college. Can I do college, or is that?
Hey, it's in there. Go ahead with it. Woo! You cut somebody?
I'll do my one of my favorite teachers was Dr. Charles Pasteur. He taught British literature and Shakespeare and things like that, and he was just a really funny guy, really great, really great teacher.
That's a tough one, man.
That's hard. Yeah, it's funny. 3 of my 4 right there are male teachers, which I wonder what that says, right?
Yeah, 2 of mine. Definitely. Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Anyway,
okay.
Those are the
all right,
first
last
names
one.
that come to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna go. We're going last. I got 2 because I thought I went earlier when we were talking. So we're gonna go 2 more.
Okay.
All right. Cartoons or sitcoms?
Oh shoot.
That's a kid.
Cartoons.
Now, okay.
As a kid?
How old are you?
I'm 30.
30. So you were 80s baby. No,
I was born in the 90s. I was born in the 90s. I know.
But you were a 90s kid though, right?
That's true.
All right. So which is crazy. I was an 80s kid, bro. I was born in 81, bro.
Yeah.
So all right. So cartoons or sitcoms, or sitcoms. Ooh.
Okay, so Hey Arnold.
Hey Arnold.
Boy Meets World.
I just mentioned Boy Meets World to one of my kids yesterday, bro.
2 big ones for me.
Oh man.
Trying to think. I feel like there was something on Hey Arnold, Boy Meets World. Ooh. Doug.
Did
you ever watch Doug? Man, I love that show.
You found you a Patty Mayonnaise. You married her, man. Come on.
Did you ever think about how the black kid in that show was blue?
Right.
Right?
Yes, I got. Oh, yes.
They couldn't even make it black. They had to make them turquoise. Like what the?
Couldn't
What
even
is
make the
that?
brother black, man. Come
What is
on,
that?
man.
Anyway,
You know,
that's funny to
Come
me.
on, Skeeter, man.
Skeeter. And they couldn't give him. We got Doug and Patty and Roger and Skeeter, who's blue. What? Anyway, we could talk about that for a while.
Yeah, we can dive into that one
Sorry.
day. Some sitcom stuff. Go back in the 90s, bro.
So, Hey Arnold, Boy Meets World, Doug.
That's some good ones, man.
Man. Probably like Scooby-Doo, going to the classic. It used to come on Cartoon Network a lot.
Scooby-Doo, bro.
Scooby-Doo.
Man, it's tough.
It's hard.
Horror is tough, man.
But I gotta have something with like I used to love like
sitcom?
superheroes.
Oh no, sitcom was
Boy Meets World. Boy Meets World.
Right.
My parents were pretty strict about what TV we watched as a kid.
Did you ever watch Full House, bro?
Full House was good. It's good. Yeah, definitely.
Family Matters?
Yeah, a little bit of Family Matters, Step by Step. Yeah.
TGI, yeah, man, TGI Friday.
Smart Guy. You ever watch that one?
Smart Guy. Smart
Sister,
Guy.
Sister.
Mr. Cooper, was that before your time?
I don't know. Hang on, Mr. Cooper. I'm sorry.
Hang on, Mr. Cooper was good, bro. All right.
Okay.
Man, we're reliving. That's good. Fresh Prince?
Fresh Prince. We're actually watching Fresh Prince right now. It's on HBO Max.
You and your wife?
Yeah.
Did you watch the reunion joint?
No, I haven't watched it yet. We're in the middle of like season 3 or 4 or something.
So did she watch him as a kid?
We both like caught it. It's funny how TV changed. When we were kids, you would like catch an episode. You're not gonna try and be home every Thursday night at 6 p.m. or whatever. Unless like, you were in love with the show.
Listen to me.
Right.
As a family, we
we
watching Fresh Prince as a family
every
at
night.
this time on this day. Boom, we caught it.
Okay.
Right? So what how she liking it?
We're really enjoying it. It's really good. Yeah, really, really good.
I mean, it's
a great show.
All right, so last one because we've been talking about this throughout the whole thing, here and there. Mount Rushmore. I don't know. I also want to say spots or brands. I maybe I can say spots and brands.
Okay.
Just to kind of give you some more to think about. Pizza.
Spots and brands of pizza. Is
pizza
this like
spots or pizza brands?
My favorite.
Like we threw out Gino, we threw out Red Baron, we threw out Little Caesar, we threw out the spots and brands. So just collectively, what might come to mind, spots, bro. And you got Andolinis in there, you got Andolinis in there, bro. I mean, it's in there.
So yeah, I'll say Empire Pizza. The one is
Empire Pizza.
It's in the Arts District right over here by school. It's a new spot. I think they just opened right before COVID.
Empire Pizza.
They're making it, but it's really good. They got a lot of good options. Andolini's is fantastic. Can't go wrong there. And then I gotta say Little Caesars. We eat Little Caesars. We eat Little Caesars more than any. It's one of our go-to things. Like whenever we're like, what do we want to do? I don't want to cook. Let's get Little Caesars. Hot and ready, man. It's right there.
Ooh, hot and ready.
Hot and ready.
Hey, you hear me say hot and ready pep?
Yeah. Anyway, and then my fourth might be homemade, like doing a homemade, making a dough,
joint,
tossing
man.
it yourself.
A homemade joint. We do homemade joints, man.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah. Do you do the hand toss joints, or what you do with yours?
So like I mentioned earlier, our friend has been living with us for a while, and he worked at a pizza place in high school, so he knows how to toss, and he's been kind of showing me how.
He kind of get it up in there.
A little bit, yeah. I don't really know what I'm doing. Like a little bit. He's not doing tricks and rolling it across his shoulders or anything, but he's tossing it.
Wow, that's a good friend right there.
Yeah,
that's some pizza, bro.
It's good.
Wow. Hey, good talk.
Good talk.
Pete Meyers, man, this was a good one, man. We laid some groundwork, man, because I know we could have got really deep on some other stuff, man. But we kept it light and cool for you. We didn't go too deep. We kept it cool, man. You know what I'm saying? But hey, Pete here, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate you, man. And man, until next time, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Garage Talk.